Me, I can't rap a girl. When I had a friend, he used to also play for Kotoko. So he's called Papako. He was then the captain of Kotoko. So he was then married, and his wife told me, oh, he'll bring his sister to see whether I like her. And when she came,
she was beautiful.
Yes, I decided to. And, I've stayed with her up to now. And
so was Papako the betweener, or the wife was the betweener for you?
He was the betweener. Because the wife could not actually talk to me, so he did the trick.
So what was your first word to your wife when you first met her?
On my part, you see, I'm the kind of guy, if any guy wants a girl, that one I can rap for you. But
so you do the betweener.
But saying it for myself, no. But no, from after the introduction, the rest is normal. Actually, my dad never wanted me to play. He was insisting that I become a doctor or an accountant. So he never wanted me to play. But my mom, in the evening, I had to pound fufu, and whenever I finished pounding, my mother would tell me to go and play.
Wow.
But when my dad is around, I cannot step out. But when I got to school, Bokwari school, I was then out of home, and I had all the freedom. So from the first year, I joined the school team, up to the end of my fifth year. So actually, I had the encouragement from school, because anytime, we had and then I got to a stage, I was called to the academic house.
So were you the champion in your school?
I was actually, the initial stages, I wasn't the champion, but when I stayed for the fifth year, I became one of the integral part of the team.
Wow. Okay, so that's how you harnessed the love to play football.
Yeah.
What are some of the crazy stuff you did when your dad is not around? That if your dad is around, I know you obviously want to run or hide somewhere to go and play football. What are some of the crazy stuff you did just to go and play football with your friends?
No, well, normally,
Were you the stubborn type of child?
No, actually. What was happening is around 4 to 5 o'clock, the team in Sunyani, that's the time they started training. So I always convinced my mom to, prepare everything earlier so that I can finish, pound the fufu early and then, run away. So that was kind of a remix that I did with my mom. But normally my dad would prefer that, we do the cooking around 4 or 5, do the pounding, and then it will be late. So most of the time my dad never came home early, so that was the good part.
Coach, fast forward to Kotoko times. You spent like 10 years with Kotoko. Was it that you loved the club so much that you decided to tie your future with the club?
I went to Kotoko in 1981-82 season, and the good thing is I was then very young, and we had a lot of young guys in the team. I was kind of very close to each other. Those days, the idea of professionalism never came to mind. We all thought that, play one of the big teams in Ghana. It's either you play for Kotoko or you play for Haas, you know. So every player, that was your ambition. And I was so comfortable there. You know, Kotoko is a team that if you play well and you are kind of disciplined and you give out all your heart, automatically, you know, the supporters will love you. And those days, I normally don't buy anything because after the game, you go out and you want to go, you use a taxi, someone will just pick you and take you around everywhere you're going. And going for shopping, you go and meet someone and you buy.
So was it the love that the supporters were showing you that made you stick there? Because it seemed that you became a superhero.
Yeah, in actual fact, I believe that I did the best that I could for Kotoko, and all the supporters, you know, then, you know, loved me. And I quite remember there was a game 1984 after we won the African Cup in 83. 1984, I was given a back pass to my goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper also came out, so I scored myself. And after the game, the supporters were like, had it not been you, or it had been any other player, you know, they would have gone, you know, crazy on him. But you know, they knew my commitment, and it's kind of, they actually, you know, accepted me, and they gave me every support needed. One other thing is the team we are very close to each other, and as I said earlier, no one thought of going anywhere, so we were kind of happy and, you know, believe.
I know then you were very young, and you were getting all the fame and the support of the fans and the love they were showing you. How were you managing that fame with your personal life? Because you were young then, and so you were getting the love, and you will be big-headed, a young boy playing for Asante Kotoko, one of the biggest clubs in Ghana, and getting all the love, the fame, and becoming popular in Kumasi. How were you managing the fame in your personal life?
It was easy for me because I'm kind of guy who doesn't actually, I'm not an out guy. You know, I always prefer, you know, staying indoors. The only time maybe you see me is going for training, coming back home, or once a while, you know, maybe going for shopping. But most of the time, hardly do anyone see me. The only time they see me is on the pitch.
Did you make a lot of money with Kotoko when you were with Kotoko?
Yeah, I remember my first house in Sunyani. You know, it's out of Kotoko. You know, I built that house. So,
wow.
You know, I can say I made a lot of money.
A lot, like.
And you see, it's not just the money. You know, once people love you, it carries on in your life. And even after now that we speak, you know, there are people who actually love me because of
what you did for Kotoko.
I did for. I quite remember I went to London. When I was in London, I was going to apply for visa for my kids. And when I went there, I met a man in there. I didn't know him. And he came out and he assisted me. He said, "Oh, I know you, and I came out to help you because of your character who was playing for Kotoko." And so, even though he said he's a hard supporter, but you know, he said he loved me, but he loved hard support. So it's how you behave, and then how you dedicate yourself to your work that you're doing. And that's.
Now, to the London issue you just spoke about, we understand that Adoma's father, in a way, helped you when you were in London. Was it one of the factors that contributed to his selection into the team?
I don't even know this. I don't know where this thing
Story
comes
came from.
Because I don't mind in the first place. Until as we speak now, I've never met a dad. And secondly,
You've never met him before?
I don't know him.
Wow.
As we speak now, the mom, after I have left the Blasters, that I went to London and I met a group of women, and they said, oh, this is my mom. And it's an elderly woman. And he said, oh, my son is at home. I said, oh, okay. So the idea of the parents is, when you call a player, it's got nothing to do with the dad. As we speak now, Aduma, those our Ghanaian players playing in UK, he is the highest scoring player. But I've not invited him.
Why?
That does not mean, it depends on now, for instance, that I'm looking for at other players. It's important I give other players option. I've seen him play, so why do I have to invite him? So the Aduma's issue, it's got nothing to do. The most important thing is you need to look at what the person can do. You don't need to, bring in family issues. And
when we say Coach Kwesi Appiah, what defines Coach Kwesi Appiah when you are off your sporting activities?
The only thing I can think of is I used to play tennis, during my leisure hours, and that is when I'm in Kumasi. A group of tennis players who gather in the evenings, to enjoy ourselves. But I had a knee problem, so I hardly, get involved now. Apart from that, I'm very boring actually.
When you say boring, meaning you don't like going out and all that?
No, my kids even say, I'm kind of bored guy.
But we know footballers to be wild, the outing type. What made you to be there?
When I was young, when I used to play, I hardly go out, I prefer watching some telly, staying at home. I don't know whether to say, when I go out there, everybody will come, let's take a picture, let's do this.
And the women will be all over you and all that.
That's not bad. So sometimes, things that I can let someone go and do for me. I'll send someone out and I'll be at home. Sometimes my kids want us to go out, and enjoy, but I just tell them, go and enjoy yourself.
You talk much more about your kids, but you saying you have a boring life. How and where did you meet your wife?
That's actually me. I can't rap a girl. When I had a friend, he used to also play for Kotoko. So he's called Appiah. He was then the captain of Kotoko. So he was then married, and his wife told me, he'll bring his sister and me to see whether I like her. And when she came,
she was beautiful.
Yes, I decided to. And, I've stayed with her up to now. And
so was Papa the betweener, or the wife was the betweener for you?
He was the betweener. Because the wife could not actually talk to me, so he did the trick.
So what was your first word to your wife when you first met her?
On my part, you see, I'm the kind of guy, if any guy wants a girl, that one I can rap for you. But
so you do the between.
but saying it for myself, no. But no, from after the introduction, the rest is normal. So
maybe the girl also liked you. Maybe.
Automatically.
All right, so coach, we know you do other things aside football. You have your own foundation, a hostel that you coming up. How are they doing?
Yeah, we are yet to launch. Yeah, we are yet to launch the foundation, which is to help my fellow sportsmen, especially the footballers. Recently, last week, when we were in camp, I was advising the young ones, who were in camp. I called them and said, look, it's important now that they're playing, they should not, make mistakes. They should look at us. Many of us are suffering now because we did not invest the little that we had. So it's important they try to, put some investments and stop buying the cars and buildings. And so doing, you live forever, in happiness. The one other thing is the footballers that we have now, they come into football as full professionals. And for that reason, they don't learn any trade,
so when they get injured, then
continue the education.
The end of their life.
Yeah, so when they go out of football, it becomes a difficult situation for them. So I was urging them on to try to do something for themselves in the future. And that is, I got to know that, after playing. Because once you're playing, you are always thinking, tomorrow or next week, money will come. So the money that will come, you spend,
So what is it the cause of what many footballers are facing now? They thought the money will always come, and so they used it, they spend it anyhow.
You see, what happens is most of the time, even those who call themselves managers, they kind of, many of them they're thinking, let me try and get some money out of them. Their main intention, is to be rich, but not thinking of what the player should do so that he can live better in future. So once they investing their money, automatically, as I've done now, the little that I've had, I try to put up something, and automatically, once you do that, then preparing the way for yourself and your family. So
what's the worth of the properties you have now?
I don't want to
you
talk
don't
about
want to
it, but
because we know coach to be very rich, being a player, assistant coach, and a coach.
No, you could be very rich and you could be very poor, because once you have the fame, you have many problems. Everybody comes with these problems and they all look up to you. So it's important, once you have investments, then you can always try to help assist whoever is around you.
When you end your first call up into the Black Stars, how was the feeling like?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because that was my first year in those days we used to call it the first division, but that was my first year playing at Man Stars, and it's a place that if you're playing, there's no way you would think of going to the national team. So just for you to be invited, I was kind of shocked and really, surprised that, I had that invitation. And when I got to that stage, I had to prove that, given a chance, I can also perform.
Were you disappointed at a point that you were not bilingual?
It's something that is really important that any player should get into, because along the line it will help you, because you might meet a coach, who does not speak English or your local language. So if you speak, the other good thing is the football, has got nothing to do with language. If you are a coach, it's a matter of showing the player, tactically, how to move or when to pass, and it's easy to understand any language, when it comes to, demonstrations of football.
So now let's talk about your kids. I know you love them so much because you've been mentioning them, my girls, my girls, my girls, my girls. What's the relationship between you and your kids?
I'm actually very close to them, and my wife sometimes
gets jealous.
She keeps complaining that if I want to even do something, I tell the kids first before, and I get on very well, with them. My wife, she likes talking, she likes talking. I'm the quiet type.
Yeah, the quiet type.
So, I relate very well, especially the younger one. She always forces me to come out, and say, tell her anything that I want to do.
So they are your best friends, I guess.
Yeah, they are actually my only friends.
Okay, so Coach, we know your exploits at the national team and Kotoko. Didn't you fancy going outside to play for foreign clubs?
Yeah, I think in 1983, there was a club in Italy called Torino. He sent some people, to get me, to come over. By then, as I said, playing for Kotoko, I thought that was the end of the world, and the idea of going out there, was not bad.
If you were to be a player now, will you still play for Kotoko?
Oh, automatically now, because there's this professionalism. Every player now, football has become business, because this is your life. You can end it tomorrow or whatever. So the mere fact that you're getting a lot of money from foreign,
so it means you regret not playing for any foreign club? But it seems
no, those days, I was happy, because I was more than happy playing for Kotoko, so I didn't see the essence. Then I was playing for Kotoko, I was playing for Black Meteors, and then I was playing for Blasters. So I was kind of, the whole year you'll be busy, and you're not even think of going out.
When you are off the field, what does coach engage in as a leisure?
Most of the time, I love watching football matches. And
everything about you is football.
Yeah, I can watch football the whole year.
So do you still watch Kotoko?
Yeah, I watch most of their games, and most of the time when I'm at home, relaxed, I'll be watching football. Not even Ghana. I don't watch Ghana TV. I always concentrate on football. But the more you watch, the more you learn a lot of things from it.
So what do you do during your leisure time? Swimming, reading?
Nah.
Just watching TV.
Swimming, if you put me in the water, I'll be
You think? Are you a good cook?
Actually, when I went to Sudan, that was when I had to cook, because I had no one there, and in Sudan, it's difficult to get someone to cook for you. So I called my wife, and
so you were that bad?
No, I had not done, because I had girls around me, so the idea of cooking
Never cropped up.
But the first day, whilst I was cooking.
What did you cook on your first day?
No, I was trying to cook prepare soup.
Light soup?
Yeah, no, not light soup. Palm nut.
Palm nut soup.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
Because it's in the can, isn't it?
Okay.
So my wife showed me how to do it, and then she told me to put in this tomato sauce. Is it tomato paste or?
Tin tomato, yeah, the tomato paste.
Yes. So you see, in Sudan they have a big one. So instead of taking some,
you
put it,
Who is the best coach that you ever worked with? Because I understand you work under 3 coaches. That's at Kwesi, Milo, and Roy. Who among these coaches are the best that you ever worked with?
As for the coaches, some of them, like Jones, that was my first time, being the assistant coach of the national team, working with him, and I learned a lot from him, and the one that I learned a lot is Milo. I picked so many things from him, and I also tried to polish it. So, on the whole, I think
Milo did the magic.
Yeah, he actually played a big part.
So he helped you to become the better coach you are today.
I learned from a lot of things from him, and I also tried to polish it, make it better.
Many people who are quiet are often termed as snake under grass. Have you ever heard these? Have people ever tagged you as such before?
Oh, I think people think when you are quiet,
you are bad.
No, not that you are bad. You are not tough. Oh, people keep saying, "Oh, I am Kasama," like you should be strong. When people tell me that, I laugh, in my head, but they don't know who they're talking to.
But you are tough.
I don't need to show it. I don't need to tell anyone I'm tough. But if you cross my line, then you see a different person. And I don't joke with my way. When it comes, you can off work. I can be wherever, I can be so quiet at me. But when it comes to my work, no one goes in there.
So after coaching, what next with Coach Appiah? Are you going to enter into pastoral? Because the way you are quiet, being a pastor will fit you so well. Are you going to enter into pastoral lecturing? Or
I believe that everyone is born as a pastor. In one way or the other, you play, you show.
So are you going to do coaching all your life, or you have other things in mind?
No, I'm trying to do so many things, trying not to only rely on football. But at the end of the day, for now, football is playing a big part, and then other things are always taking place. But it's important that even the work that you do, I don't believe that you're doing only this way. It was always important that you try to get other options, to support what you're doing, and in so doing, always better in life.
It's amazing talking to Coach. We are so